everybody, and welcome back to Julie's Orchids. Today you're looking at my birthday present. So my birthday is on Tuesday coming up, and my husband went to Kings Park today and bought me this. Now you may be asking, what is Kings Park? Well, here in Perth, Kings Park is the big botanic garden. And there's a lot of native Australian plants on display, and a few times a year the Friends of Kings Park have plant sales. Now what's significant about Kings Park plant sales, all of the native plants that we have planted in the front garden, I'll link my videos here, are from Kings Park, and they're always very healthy plants. And the special thing about this one, as you can see, it's an orchid. And as you could probably guess by looking at the book sitting next to it, that it is a Western Australian native orchid. And not only that, but it is a primary hybrid Western Australia native orchid. And my husband got me this for my birthday. Now it is not legal to go out into the bush and dig yourself up an orchid, but Kings Park and the Friends of Kings Park have been allowed to make hybrids of some of the species orchids. And this is a pretty special one. As I mentioned, it is a primary hybrid. It is a cross between Calodenia lodgiana and infundibularis. And this is a spider orchid. And I've seen one of the parents growing in the wild, and I believe I have it in one of my outings video. And if I do, I'll link it here. And the other one I did not see, but these are from the Augusta area of southwestern Australia. Now, what does the Augusta area of southwestern Australia mean? So I live in a suburb of Perth, and Augusta is an area about 3.5 hours south of Perth. And like I said, I've done an outings video where we've actually went and used this book to hunt for orchids in the wild. So I'll include some still pictures from the internet or from this book because obviously it's not in bloom. But this is a tuberous, so it has a tuber. It's a perennial herb, and it's white with a red spider, and it blooms during October and November, so obviously this one has already bloomed. But they are known for having a single leaf. That's it. This is all that you get in nature, a single leaf and a flower spike and flowers. So even though the plant itself is not that impressive, and you might think, oh, that's a very unhealthy looking plant, no, this is what exactly, from what I can read in the book here, both the primary species parents are known for. And yes, having seen the Calodenia lodgiana in the wild, it is a single leaf with a flower spike and flowers. That's all. This is all it is. These are plants that go completely dormant. Obviously they're tubers, so it is going to die off. A lot of the native terrestrial orchids in Australia have long dormancy periods, and this is usually during the hottest portions of the summer when there's just very little rain that falls. So part of the care guide on this is to not to water until the autumn rains. So that makes it pretty easy for me living here in Western Australia. to figure out when the autumn rain starts in the Augusta area, and then I can start watering the plant. But other than that, if it's not raining in Augusta area, the plant will not be watered. And so this is very early November, November the 4th, and it's really not raining down there, so I'm probably not going to water this plant until April. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, won't water this plant until April. And then we'll have to follow up to see what happens then. At any rate, I don't think we're going to have a spike. It looks to me like I'm not sure if it had a spike or if it's just big enough to only put out the leaf. Now they have it planted in pretty well what looks like coastal sand. This is what most of the earth around here looks like. This looks like it's being from Augusta, and Augusta is not as dry as Perth itself. It's a bit more of a moist area, and so it looks like there's more what would look like soil mixed in with the sand. But it, also a little slow release fertilizer. So yeah, and then once I start watering this, it's going to get a lot of water. Like it'll get watered. Basically, if it's raining outside, it's going to get watered. In Western Australia, we pretty well have, as it was explained to me when I moved here, 4 months of hot and dry, followed by 2 months of hot and dry and not as hot and as dry, but still hot, and then 2 months of starting to get a little bit cooler and a sprinkle here or there, and then you get a good 4 months of cold, damp rain, and then on the reverse flip side of that, the cold, damp rain slowly peters off to warm, hot, and then hot, hot, hot. So when this thing gets watered, it will get watered a lot, and then when it goes into dormancy, it will not get a drop. Now, what I really like about this book is that it has mud maps in here, and you can actually find what your season is and go out into the bush and have a look for these orchids, which is why I said I've seen one of the species of this cross. So I'm going to apologize. I have used this book, and the pages are a bit crinkly and a bit dirty because I've gone out orchid hunting several times with it, and it's been my trusty guide. So I've bookmarked the pages that represent the species parent of this plant. Now, what this book is not able to tell me is if this plant is a naturally occurring hybrid, as both of the parent plants are from the same region, or if it's just a hybrid that they have created in the Kings Park lab. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is Caladinia lodginiana, which is otherwise known as Lodge's spider orchid. And there it is. So I think I've seen it, but I've stumbled upon it accidentally because the book lists the site as confidential, and mid-November was the best time. So it was either that one we saw or this one. Now I'm going to say it was this one. But yeah, so common name, Lodge spider orchid. Now the next species in this cross is Caladinia infundibularis, and that is this one right here. So they're both spider orchids, and this one is best seen in October, so I'm going to say that this one's done flowering. These are considered large orchids. That's that one picture's there. And when they say large orchid, that's relative because they're maybe like this. The plants themselves aren't that impressive, as you can tell, but the flowers are stunning. So there you have it, an introduction to a new birthday gift that I've had that my husband got me from the Friends of Kings Park Nursery. It's a primary hybrid between two native Western Australian terrestrial orchids. And here's what they are. I'll do some follow-up videos on this orchid in the upcoming several months from now because it's getting ready to go into dormancy. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Do subscribe because we will do some following up on this orchid. And everyone have a happy, healthy, and safe day. Thanks again.